We shall next discuss little omega using which one can represent loose lower bounds. So we have seen that n square plus say 7n minus 2 is omega of n square, it is omega of n, it is omega of n power 2 minus epsilon, where epsilon is greater than or equal to 0. Interestingly, things like omega of n power 1.9, omega of n, and omega of n power 0.5, omega of log n, and all of them are lower bounds for this, and they are not tight as this, so they are loose lower bounds. Interestingly, all of them, the inequality is true even if you choose any c for this. Meaning, so for all c greater than 0, there exists n naught which is positive, and for all n greater than or equal to n naught, we see that n square plus 7n minus 2 is more than or greater than or equal to constant times n power 1.9. This one is true for any c. Okay, so if c is small, then no issue because it is on the lower bound side. If c is really large, you can appropriately compensate with the choice of n naught, right? So you will have to increase n naught so that the one on the larger side is getting even increased, correct? So the inequality is true. So formally, f of n is little omega of g of n if and only if this one is true. For all c greater than 0, there exists n naught greater than 0, and for all n greater than or equal to n naught, we see that f of n is lower bounded by c times g of n. One can also write f of n is strictly more than c times g of n. Okay, so it is always the case, so we can write this. So if the time complexity of an algorithm is something like n square plus 2 power n minus say n, then we know that it is lower bounded by n, it is lower bounded by n square, it is lower bounded by n cube, it is lower bounded by 2 power n. And so all of this, one can also write little omega of n, little omega of n square, little omega of n cube, and this is not little omega of 2 power n. So which means n square plus 2 power n minus 1 is not same as little omega of 2 power n. And for example, c is 0.5, then I cannot say n square plus 2 power n minus n is not little omega of 2 power n. For example, say c is 0.001, you see that it is true, but you choose a larger value. Suppose c is say 10 power 4, you see that it is not true, and which you can observe from here itself. So 2 power n is not 10 power 4 into 2 power n. And if you use that fact, if c is small, it's fine. If c is large, answer is no. So that shows that 2 power n is not little omega of 2 power n. So this one is not little omega of 2 power n, whereas the rest all true. So, which means things like n cube plus 4n square minus n is omega of n cube. It is omega of n power 3 minus epsilon, where epsilon is greater than 0, and it is little omega of n power 3 minus epsilon, where epsilon is greater than 0. So, simple reason, very similar to what we observed, n cube is omega of n cube, and n cube is not little omega of n cube. And if C is large, then it is not true. So, anything smaller than that will indeed capture the loose lower bounds. So, a couple of interesting remarks. So, we know that n square plus 2n plus 5 is order of n square is order of big O of n cube, and big O of n power 2 plus epsilon, where epsilon is greater than or equal to 0. So these are all g of n and f of n. And our analysis is with respect to large values of n naught. I mean, as we keep increasing n, and what is the order of growth of f of n with respect to g of n? That's really what we are interested in studying. So limit n tends to infinity. Look at f of n by g of n. So for all of this, if you see, and so f of n is this divided by g of n is n square, and f of n divided by n cube, and so on. So what is that we will get? Suppose both are of same growth, then on simplification you get some constant. Otherwise, you see that on simplification you get some function of n, and 1 by that will give you the value approaches 0. Which means, so this is at most C, where C is a constant. Correct? So now, if this is the case, limit n tends to infinity, f of n by g of n is at most this, implies that f of n is big O of g of n. We also know that n square plus 2n plus 5 is omega of n square is omega of n. It is omega of n power 2 minus epsilon, where epsilon is greater than or equal to 0. Now when we look at this, limit n tends to infinity, f of n by g of n, you see that when both are of same growth, you get some constant, and otherwise on the numerator you will have some function of n. On substitution it will approach infinity, so which means it will be at least C, again where C is a constant, some C. So if this is the case, we can say f of n is omega of big omega of g of n. But when we know for sure, which means over here when you attain constant, growth is same. Over here when you attain constant, growth is same. Which means limit n tends to infinity, f of n by g of n, if it is some constant, implies that growth is same, then f of n is theta of g of n. So limit n tends to infinity, f of n by g of n is at most a constant. Suppose this growth is faster than this, then 1 by that larger number will be 0. So it is 0, which implies that f of n is little o of g of n. And limit n tends to infinity, when the order of growth of g of n is strictly small, then what do we get? We get infinity, which means f of n is little omega of g of n. So when you have a step count of this form, we can say it is order of n square, order of n cube, order of n power 2 plus epsilon and all that. On one side we have a notation little o which will capture loose upper bounds and little omega which will capture loose lower bounds. There is yet another way of looking at this stuff, and when you compare f of n and g of n, or when you look at this ratio as n tends to infinity, you see that this ratio is at most a constant. And if it is strictly a constant, then we see that it is indeed theta. When g of n is more, for example, big O of n cube and n square, then on simplification we get 1 by some function of n, and that will approach 0 when n tends to infinity. So which means when it is 0, it is little o. Similarly, when it is strict, when you get a constant, it is theta, and you may get a constant or anything starting from constant all the way up to infinity. And when we get infinity, we see that f of n is little omega of g of n. So given two functions and you are asked to check whether it is big O, big omega and theta, one can always apply the definition and look for appropriate c and n naught and establish the inequality is true, or one can also take this itself as a definition and establish the appropriate notation. Okay, so there are a couple of interesting stuff on this. Because these are all functions, one can relate, we are only trying to relate through these operators. These are all operators, right? Big O, big omega and so on. And one can see, are there any other interesting properties that we have studied as part of discrete mathematics in the context of relations, reflexivity, symmetricity and so on. Do they hold when it comes to functions? Because these are all functions, right? And you are trying to relate one function with the other, and which we shall see next.